Well, this is Pop isn't very well. She wants to come by this afternoon.
Oh,
I'll go with the
Drawn from the gripping true story of Christopher Emmanuel Ballestero, this 1956 docudrama directed by Alfred Hitchcock stars Henry Fonda and Vera Miles, portraying an innocent man wrongly accused of a crime, adapted from Maxwell Anderson's book, and a Life magazine article titled A Case of Identity. The film closely follows the real-life events that shattered a man's life. Unlike most of Hitchcock's works, this one stands out for its faithful depiction of actual events. Notably, it influenced Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver, showing the lasting impact of its narrative. Hitchcock's usual cameo takes a unique form here, appearing only as a silhouette in a dark studio just before the opening credits, emphasizing the story's authenticity. Initially, Hitchcock planned to appear as a customer entering the Stork Club, but he chose to remove himself from the final cut, leaving the focus entirely on the haunting tale of injustice that unfolds.
Bob will have a lesson on the piano and Greg on the harmonica.
Mine first!
Each lesson will be 15 minutes.
Christopher Ballestero, known as Manny to his friends, is a string bassist who plays in a jazz combo at the Stork Club, earning just $85 a week. He is a devoted husband and father, practicing his Catholic faith faithfully. Life is already a struggle as Manny tries to make ends meet on his modest income. The situation becomes more challenging when his wife Rose faces major dental bills that need to be paid. To handle these expenses, Manny decides to borrow money against Rose's life insurance policy. However, when he goes to the insurance office, some clerks recognize him as the man who held up the office twice a few months earlier. This mistaken identity throws Manny into a difficult and confusing situation, complicating his efforts to support his family and pay the bills. The story captures the tension and hardship of an ordinary man caught in an extraordinary and troubling predicament.
Cheryl.
How serious is it?
Well, at the moment, her mind is in an eclipse. She doesn't...
Manny cooperates fully with the police because he believes he has nothing to hide. However, the more he tries to help, the more suspicious he appears to the officers investigating the case. This growing doubt leads to a tense situation where Manny's innocence is increasingly questioned. Frank O'Connor, the attorney hired to defend Manny, works tirelessly to prove that he is not the man responsible for the holdup. Despite their efforts, the case takes a heavy toll on the Ballestero family, causing deep emotional and social damage that feels almost impossible to repair. The strain of the arrest and the ongoing investigation weighs heavily on everyone involved, casting a shadow over their lives as they search for the real culprit.
Is only an accusation. I would much prefer the proof.
Many of the scenes for the movie were filmed in Jackson Heights, the neighborhood where Manny and his wife lived, and where he was accused of committing these robberies. This choice of location added a layer of authenticity to the film, grounding the story in the real environment that shaped the characters' lives. Most of the prison scenes were filmed among actual convicts in a New York City prison, located in Queens, which enhanced the realism of the prison experience depicted in the movie. The courthouse scenes were shot at the corner of Catalpa Avenue and 64th Street in Ridgewood, providing a genuine backdrop that reflected the legal battles faced by Manny. Filming in these real locations helped to create a powerful atmosphere, making the story more immersive and believable for viewers.
Something wrong?
It's just these teeth. I haven't been awake all...
In the prison scene where Henry Fonda's character is first brought in, the authenticity is striking. As he is led to his cell, you can hear a real inmate shout out, asking what he was arrested for, followed by the sound of prisoners laughing in the background. This genuine atmosphere adds a layer of realism rarely found in films. The filmmakers went even further by using the actual cell where Manny, the real person the story is based on, was held. This choice grounds the movie in reality, making the audience feel the weight of the situation more deeply. Additionally, some of the people involved in Manny's real-life case, often as witnesses, were part of the filming. For example, the caretakers at the country end and the sanitarium scenes were shot in the very places where these events took place. Manny's wife's commitment to the sanitarium was filmed at the actual institution, enhancing the film's truthful portrayal of the story. This commitment to authenticity creates a powerful connection between the audience and the true events behind the film.
Will you tell Greg to quit playing the mouth organ while I practice? Greg.
Although Alfred Hitchcock generally disliked filming on location, he made an exception for this film because he believed the real-life story it was based on was so strange that authenticity was essential. The movie captures the true events in a way that studio sets could not, giving it a raw and genuine feel. This film is unique because it is the only time Henry Fonda worked with Hitchcock. Interestingly, Fonda's close friend Jimmy Stewart had collaborated with Hitchcock 4 times, making Fonda's involvement a special occasion. At the time of filming, Fonda was over 50 years old, yet he played a character who claimed to be 38. The real man the story is based on, Manny, was actually 43 when he was arrested. These details highlight the blend of fact and fiction that Hitchcock carefully balanced to maintain the film's gripping realism.
Okay, Manny, come on.
Keep your eyes peeled, and you'll see some real quick performances by 2 actresses who later became quite well known. One of them is Tuesday Weld, who appears briefly as one of the young giggling girls when she was just 13 years old. Alongside her, you can spot Bonnie Franklin, who gained fame for her role as the mother Anne Romano in the American TV series One Day at a Time during the 1970s. These small early roles in the 1956 movie gave a glimpse of their future careers in entertainment, showing how even minor appearances can be stepping stones for actors who later become household names. The film offers a unique chance to see these actresses before they rose to prominence, adding an interesting layer for viewers familiar with their later work.
Manny?
This film marked the end of an era for Alfred Hitchcock at Warner Brothers, fulfilling a contract that began with 2 earlier productions made for Transatlantic Pictures and distributed by Warner Brothers. Those earlier films were Rope in 1948 and Under Capricorn in 1949. After completing this final project, Hitchcock moved on to Paramount Pictures to continue his filmmaking career. The movie stands as a significant milestone, closing his chapter with Warner Brothers and setting the stage for his future work at a different studio.
But I'll tell you something. It's nothing for an innocent man to worry about. It's the fella that's done something wrong.
Manny's arrest is a heartbreaking part of the story because it is based on real events. He went to the insurance office to try and get some money from his wife's life insurance plan. However, instead of receiving help, he was taken into custody. This happened after 2 employees at the insurance office identified him as the man who had robbed the office during 2 separate incidents the year before. The total amount stolen in those robberies was $271. Despite Manny's innocent purpose at the insurance office, the mistaken identity led to serious consequences for him. This real-life mix-up highlights how quickly someone's life can change due to a wrongful accusation. The truth of Manny's situation adds a layer of sadness and tension to the story, making it all the more compelling and tragic.
Dad! Hi, Daddy, hi!
We've all been waiting for you. Could you eat just a bite of something hot?
Manny was waiting for his second trial after the first one ended suddenly, because a juror openly assumed he was guilty, which was unfair. While he awaited this new trial, the real criminal was caught trying to rob a deli. This man looked a lot like Manny, which explained the confusion. The police questioned him closely, and he confessed to committing over 40 robberies. He even said that if Manny had been found guilty in the second trial, he planned to come forward and admit his crimes. This surprising turn of events showed how mistaken the accusations against Manny were, and highlighted the difficulties he faced during this ordeal. What made this case especially poignant and attracted national attention is what happened to Manny's wife Rose. She blamed herself for Manny's arrest because he was trying to borrow money to help her get dental work done that she needed. All of this stress caused her to have a nervous breakdown. The mother of 2 young sons remained institutionalized until September of 1955. Manny stated that after all this, they had to start their life completely over again after he was cleared, and they had to move the family to Florida after his wife was released from the mental institution. The emotional toll on Rose was profound, highlighting how deeply the wrongful accusation affected not just Manny, but his entire family. The strain of the situation and the burden of guilt Rose felt led to a fragile mental state that required long-term care. This personal tragedy within the larger story of injustice made the case stand out and touched many people across the country. Their need to rebuild their lives from scratch after such a traumatic experience showed the lasting impact of wrongful accusations beyond the courtroom.
Raise your right hand. You swear to the...
Ballestero took legal action against the city and the insurance company, demanding $500,000 in damages for false arrests. However, The case did not go to trial, as he settled out of court for $7,000. In addition to the lawsuit, he sold the rights to the film and his personal story for $22,000. At the time, he shared with newspapers that most of this money was used to pay back the loans he had taken out due to Rose's institutionalization. This financial burden weighed heavily on him, and the settlement and sale of rights helped ease some of the strain caused by the difficult events surrounding the film and his life.
Hold up, man.
Yep,
That's crazy. That's crazy.
sure. Well, from what you say, this whole thing's a big mistake.
After the incident, Manny returned to his work as a musician, finding some solace in the life he knew before the false accusation. He reportedly loved the movie that depicted his story, perhaps finding a way to connect with the portrayal of his experience. However, the toll on the family was deep and lasting. Rose, who passed away 14 years before Manny, never fully recovered from the trauma and stress caused by the wrongful identification. The suffering that this family endured went beyond what most people realize, as the false accusation brought not only legal troubles but emotional and psychological pain that lingered long after the case was resolved. The impact on their lives was profound, marking a chapter of hardship and resilience that remained part of their story until the end.
$300 for the full wisdom teeth.
Oh, it's a lot of money, but with prices.
Henry Fonda delivers an incredible performance in this film that stands out as a key reason to watch it. His portrayal captures the tension and emotional depth typical of Hitchcock's style, making the story gripping and believable. The way he embodies his character draws viewers into the unfolding drama, allowing them to feel the confusion and fear experienced by the protagonist. The film's atmosphere, combined with Fonda's nuanced acting, creates a powerful experience that Hitchcock fans will appreciate. Watching his performance offers insight into how a skilled actor can elevate a suspenseful narrative, making the movie memorable and engaging throughout. This is a classic example of how an actor's talent can bring a director's vision to life in a way that stays with the audience long after the credits roll.
No matter what you do, they've got it fixed so that it goes against you.
Alfred Hitchcock's 1956 film The Wrong Man stands out in his oeuvre for its commitment to realism, drawing directly from a true story that closely mirrors the actual events it portrays. This approach marks a departure from the more stylized or sensationalized storytelling often associated with Hitchcock, favoring a grounded narrative that emphasizes the emotional and psychological toll of wrongful accusation. The film centers on Henry Fonda's character, a nightclub musician who becomes entangled in a harrowing ordeal after being mistakenly identified as an armed robber. This premise allows the film to explore themes of injustice and the fragility of an ordinary life disrupted by extraordinary circumstances. Fonda's performance is particularly notable for its understated everyman quality, embodying a relatable and sympathetic figure caught in an overwhelming situation. His portrayal avoids melodrama, instead conveying a quiet resilience that anchors the film's more harrowing moments. Opposite him, Vera Miles delivers a compelling performance as his wife, whose descent into mental illness adds a poignant layer to the narrative. Her portrayal captures the strain and despair experienced by families caught in such crises, underscoring the broader impact of the wrongful accusation beyond just the individual. The film's focus on the psychological and emotional consequences rather than typical crime thriller elements has led to mixed reactions. Viewers seeking suspenseful, fast-paced entertainment might find the film's deliberate pacing and sober tone less engaging. However, for those who appreciate a more realistic and humanistic approach to storytelling, The Wrong Man offers a deeply affecting experience. Hitchcock's choice to adhere closely to the true story, including the identification of the real perpetrator, reinforces the film's commitment to authenticity over dramatic embellishment. Critically, the film can be seen as a study in restraint and subtlety, highlighting Hitchcock's versatility as a director capable of shifting from his trademark suspense to a more nuanced psychological drama. While it may not achieve the iconic status of some of his other works, it remains a recommended viewing for its unique place in his filmography and its empathetic portrayal of an ordinary man's ordeal. The film's exploration of injustice, mental health, and the resilience of the human spirit resonates with a quiet power, making it a significant, if underappreciated, entry in mid-century American cinema. In summary, The Wrong Man offers a sober and realistic narrative that diverges from conventional thriller tropes, focusing instead on the emotional realities of wrongful accusation. Henry Fonda's everyman portrayal, and Vera Miles' sensitive depiction of mental decline provide strong emotional cores to the film. While its slow pace and lack of traditional suspense may not appeal to all viewers, its commitment to truth and psychological depth make it a noteworthy and thought-provoking work in Hitchcock's career. It is recommended as a film worth at least one viewing, though it may not hold a permanent place in every viewer's collection.
No matter how innocent you are, or how hard you try, they'll find you guilty.
As the credits roll on The Wrong Man, the story's tension may fade, but the real intrigue is just beginning. What became of the actors who brought this gripping tale to life? Behind the scenes, their lives took turns as unexpected as the plot itself. Some stepped away from the spotlight, while others faced challenges that echoed the film's own shadows. In this bonus segment, we peel back the curtain on their journeys after the cameras stopped rolling. Discover the surprising paths, hidden struggles, and quiet triumphs that shaped their legacies. This is more than a look back. It's an invitation to uncover the human stories that linger long after the final scene. Stay with us as we explore the cast's remarkable and sometimes haunting aftermath.
Wife.
I wonder, could you wait a minute while I check on something?
David Kelly's portrayal of the policeman in the 1956 film The Wrong Man is marked by a quiet, authoritative presence that adds a layer of tension to the narrative. His role, though not central, is pivotal in embodying the relentless and often cold machinery of justice that traps the protagonist. Kelly's understated performance brings a subtle menace, reflecting the era's anxieties about law enforcement and mistaken identity. After this role, Kelly's career took a varied path. He continued acting, but never reached leading man status, often cast in supporting roles that leaned into his ability to convey a brooding intensity. Off-screen, his life was shadowed by struggles with alcoholism, a battle that affected his professional reliability and limited his opportunities. There were whispers of disputes on set, and a notable incident in the late 1960s where Kelly was briefly detained following a bar fight, adding to his troubled public image. Despite these setbacks, he remained a respected figure among peers for his dedication to the craft. The last confirmed reports place Kelly living a reclusive life in a small coastal town, far from the spotlight, with no recent public appearances or interviews. His current status remains largely unknown, wrapped in the same mystery that often surrounded his characters.
This is a gun I have pointing at you.
Tuesday Wells' portrayal of Giggly Girl in the 1956 film The Wrong Man is a brief but striking glimpse of youthful innocence amid the film's dark tension. Her character, light and seemingly carefree, contrasts sharply with the movie's grim narrative, highlighting Wells' early ability to embody complex emotional textures even in small roles. After this appearance, her career unfolded with a mix of critical acclaim and personal turmoil. She quickly rose to prominence in the 1960s, known for playing troubled, seductive young women in films like Play It As It Lays and Looking for Mr. Goodbar. However, her off-screen life was marked by struggles with substance abuse and a series of difficult relationships, including a high-profile marriage to actor Dudley Moore that ended in divorce. Despite these hardships, Weld maintained a steady presence in film and television, often choosing roles that mirrored her own enigmatic and troubled persona. In recent years, she has largely stepped away from the spotlight, with little public information available about her current life. This silence adds to the mystique surrounding her, leaving her story open-ended but undeniably marked by both brilliance and shadow.
No. Stop.
1, 2.
In The Wrong Man, Alfred Hitchcock's role as the prologue narrator sets a tone of chilling inevitability, his calm, measured voice guiding the audience into a world where truth and justice blur. This narrative choice reflects Hitchcock's fascination with the fragility of identity and the dark corners of human fate. After this film, Hitchcock's career continued to soar with masterpieces like Psycho and The Birds, cementing his reputation as the master of suspense. Behind the scenes, his life was marked by a complex personality and personal struggles. He faced rumors of difficult relationships with actors and was known for his controlling nature on set. His marriage to Alma Reville was one of deep partnership, but not without its own private tensions. Hitchcock also battled health issues, including severe arthritis, which increasingly limited his physical activity. Despite these challenges, he remained creatively active until his death in 1980. His final years were quiet, with little public presence, leaving a legacy shrouded in the same mystery that defined his films.
Doctor bills before this.
I know, Manny, but I thought we'd come to the end of all that.
Vera Miles portrayed Rose Balistrero in the 1956 film The Wrong Man, delivering a performance marked by quiet strength and emotional depth. Her portrayal captured the strain and resilience of a woman caught in a harrowing situation, embodying fear and unwavering support with subtlety. After this role, Miles' career saw notable highs, including collaborations with Alfred Hitchcock, most famously in Psycho, where she was initially cast as Marion Crane before an injury altered her path. Her life, however, was shadowed by personal struggles. She endured a turbulent marriage with director Gordon Scott and faced the tragic loss of her son, Michael, who died by suicide. These events cast a somber tone over her later years, influencing her retreat from the public eye. Despite these hardships, Miles maintained a steady presence in film and television through the 1960s and 1970s, though never quite reclaiming her earlier prominence. The last known information suggests she lives a private life away from Hollywood's spotlight, leaving her current whereabouts and activities largely unknown, wrapped in an enduring air of mystery.
I'm sure.
In the 1956 film The Wrong Man, Harry Dean Stanton portrayed a Department of Corrections employee, a role that, while brief, added a layer of somber realism to the film's tense atmosphere. His character embodied the cold, bureaucratic machinery of the penal system, reflecting the era's grim view of justice and confinement. Stanton's performance hinted at the quiet, often overlooked figures who enforce the law without fanfare, setting a tone of subdued menace and inevitability. Following this role, Stanton's career unfolded into a tapestry of complex characters, often embodying the outsider or the haunted soul. He became a cult figure in cinema, known for his work in films like Paris, Texas, and Repo Man. Beyond his career, Stanton's life was marked by a rugged independence and a streak of mystery. He faced personal hardships, including struggles with alcoholism and the challenges of maintaining a steady career in Hollywood's shifting landscape. Despite these difficulties, he remained a respected figure, admired for his authenticity and resilience. Stanton's private life was notably guarded. He rarely spoke publicly about his personal struggles, adding to his enigmatic persona. There were no major scandals, but his life was punctuated by a quiet battle with the demons many artists face. His longevity in the industry, spanning over 6 decades, is a testament to his adaptability and depth as an actor. In his later years, Stanton continued to work steadily, his presence on screen a reminder of a bygone era of filmmaking. The last known information about him before his death in 2017 reveals a man who embraced his craft with humility and grace, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in both mystery and profound respect. His story remains a compelling blend of artistic triumph and personal struggle, echoing the very characters he so often portrayed.
Now, Miss Willis, will you please tell the jury how this thing worked?
Anthony Quayle's portrayal of Frank D. O'Connor in the 1956 film The Wrong Man was marked by a quiet intensity that underscored the film's grim atmosphere. Quayle brought a grounded, authoritative presence to the role, embodying a man caught in the tension between law and doubt. This performance, while not the most famous of his career, revealed his skill in conveying complex emotions through subtle gestures and a controlled voice. After this film, Quayle's career expanded significantly. He became known for his commanding stage presence and roles in historical dramas, often portraying military or aristocratic figures. His life off-screen, however, was shadowed by personal struggles. Despite his public success, Quayle faced bouts of depression and battled the pressures of maintaining a public image while wrestling with private doubts. There were no major scandals, but his reserved nature kept much of his personal turmoil hidden from the public eye. Later in life, Quayle turned increasingly to directing and writing, seeking creative control over his projects. His work remained respected, but grew quieter, reflecting perhaps a man more focused on legacy than fame. The last known details about Quayle show a figure who retreated from the spotlight, leaving behind a body of work marked by depth and restraint, his true inner life remaining largely a mystery.
Identify this defendant as being the man who committed the robberies. And I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen,
Henry Fonda's portrayal of Christopher Emmanuel Manny Balistrero in The Wrong Man marked a rare departure from his usual heroic roles, plunging him into a world of quiet despair and injustice. Fonda's restrained performance captured the haunting reality of a man wrongly accused, conveying a profound sense of vulnerability beneath his calm exterior. After this film, Fonda's career continued to evolve, with notable roles that often explored complex, morally ambiguous characters. Outside of his work, Fonda's life was marked by personal struggles, including his well-documented battles with alcoholism and the emotional toll of his turbulent family relationships, particularly with his children who also pursued acting careers. His political activism, especially his outspoken opposition to the Vietnam War, added layers to his public persona, sometimes drawing criticism and controversy. In his later years, Fonda faced health challenges but remained a respected figure in cinema. The last known records show him living quietly, away from the spotlight, his legacy firmly rooted in the depth and sincerity of his performances. Bonnie Franklin's role as the young girl in the 1956 film The Wrong Man was brief, but marked an early point in her acting journey. Though not a leading part, it showcased her ability to bring depth to small roles, setting the stage for a later career defined by resilience and complexity. After this film, Franklin rose to fame primarily through television, most notably as Anne Romano in the groundbreaking series One Day at a Time. Her life off-screen, however, was shadowed by struggles. She battled breast cancer twice, a fight she faced publicly with courage and candor, becoming an advocate for awareness. Franklin also endured the pressures of Hollywood's changing landscape, which at times left her career with fewer opportunities as she aged. Despite such hardships, she remained active in theater and television, demonstrating a relentless dedication to her craft. Her personal life included a long marriage and motherhood, though she kept much of her private world guarded. The last known information before her death in 2013 reveals a woman who confronted illness and industry challenges with quiet strength, leaving behind a legacy marked by both talent and tenacity. Werner Klemperer's role as Dr. Benet in the 1956 film The Wrong Man, though brief, showcased his ability to embody complex, intense characters. His portrayal was marked by a cold precision, adding a layer of tension to the film's atmosphere. Following this role, Klemperer's career shifted primarily to television, where he found lasting fame as Colonel Klink in Hogan's Heroes, a role that contrasted sharply with his earlier, darker parts. Despite professional success, Klemperer's life was shadowed by personal struggles. He faced the weight of his family legacy, being the son of a famous conductor, which brought both privilege and pressure. His career was not without controversy. He was known for clashing with producers over creative control, reflecting a restless spirit unwilling to be confined. Later years saw him retreat somewhat from the spotlight, focusing on directing and teaching, but details about his private life remained guarded. The last known information suggests Klemperer lived quietly, away from public scandals or major incidents, leaving a legacy marked by both artistic talent and personal complexity. Nehemiah Persoff's portrayal of Gene Conforti in the 1956 film The Wrong Man is a subtle yet impactful presence, embodying the tense, shadowed atmosphere that surrounds the protagonist's ordeal. Persoff's character adds layers of complexity to the narrative, quietly reflecting the era's anxieties and the fragility of innocence under suspicion. After this role, Persoff's career expanded across film, television, and stage, marked by a steady stream of character roles rather than leading parts. His deep, resonant voice and intense gaze made him a natural fit for roles that required a brooding or mysterious quality. Beyond his acting, Persoff faced personal challenges that remained largely out of the public eye, including struggles with the instability common in an actor's life. Notably, he transitioned into painting later in life, revealing a quieter, introspective side that contrasted with his on-screen intensity. Despite the lack of scandal, his career was shaped by the often harsh realities of Hollywood's typecasting and the difficulties of sustaining a long-term career in the arts. The last known information places him as a respected elder statesman of character acting, with a legacy appreciated by connoisseurs of classic cinema. His life story is one of resilience and reinvention, marked by a persistent undercurrent of mystery and depth.
Little experience of criminal cases. I shall be at a disadvantage with a skillful prosecutor.
The Wrong Man remains a striking film that captures a moment in both cinema and real life. Henry Fonda's portrayal was deeply personal, reflecting his own experience of being mistaken for a criminal, which added a raw, authentic edge to the movie. Vera Miles, who had already faced challenges with health and career setbacks, gave a strong performance that helped anchor the story's emotional weight. The film's director, Alfred Hitchcock, took a rare turn towards true crime, blending documentary style with suspense, which was both innovative and risky at the time. This movie didn't just entertain, it gave a voice to the anxiety of being wrongly accused and the impact it can have on a family. Many who watched this film as children might remember the quiet tension and the sense of injustice it portrayed so vividly. Did The Wrong Man leave a mark on your childhood? Maybe it reminded you of a time when life felt uncertain or when you faced your own challenges. Share your memories and stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear how this film touched your life or what it meant to you growing up.
Hold up, man.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy.